What happens when a prince who claims to champion truth meets a comedian who makes his living exposing lies? The answer might shock you, because what unfolded on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert turned into one of the most uncomfortable television moments in recent memory. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think really happened here. Prince Harry strides onto The Late Show stage with his usual confident swagger, waving to the audience as they applaud. Stephen Colbert stands behind his desk, that familiar mischievous grin already forming on his face. You can sense something brewing in the air, a tension that goes beyond the typical late-night interview setup. "Prince Harry, welcome back to the show." Colbert begins, his voice carrying that trademark mix of warmth and barely contained sarcasm. "Always a pleasure to have royalty grace our humble American stage." Harry takes his place in the guest chair, adjusting his jacket with practiced ease. "Thanks for having me, Stephen. Though I have to say humble is not exactly the word I would use to describe your operation here." The audience chuckles, but Colbert's eyebrow arches slightly. "Oh really? And what word would you use?" "Well," Harry leans back, clearly feeling comfortable, "let's just say you have quite the platform here. Quite the influence. With great power comes great responsibility, as they say." Colbert's grin widens. "But there's something predatory about it now." "Interesting choice of words coming from someone who literally gave up the ultimate platform of power and responsibility. Tell me, Harry, do you ever miss the days when people had to bow when they met you?" The question hangs in the air like a challenge. Harry's expression shifts, the easy confidence flickering for just a moment. "I think you misunderstand what that life was really like, Stephen." The bowing, the protocol. "It was all just theater, empty gestures that meant nothing." "Empty gestures?" Colbert repeats, his voice rising with mock surprise. "You mean like the empty gesture of accepting millions of dollars from Netflix while complaining about your privacy being invaded, or the empty gesture of writing a tell-all book while claiming you want to heal family relationships?" The audience grows quiet, sensing the shift in tone. Harry's jaw tightens visibly. "That's not fair, Stephen. You're oversimplifying complex situations that you couldn't possibly understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly," Colbert shoots back, leaning forward on his desk. "I understand that you've built an entire brand around being the victim of a system that you now profit from criticizing. It's actually quite brilliant from a business perspective." Harry's face flushes red. "A brand? You think this is about building a brand? You think I wanted any of this?" "I think," Colbert says slowly, his comedic timing perfect, "that you wanted the crown without the responsibility, the privilege without the duty, and the platform without the accountability. And when you couldn't have it all, you decided to burn it down and sell tickets to watch the fire." The silence in the studio is deafening. Harry's hands grip the arms of his chair, his knuckles white. "You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea what it's like to grow up in that world, to lose your mother the way I did, to watch the institution that was supposed to protect her destroy her memory for their own gain." Colbert's expression doesn't soften. "You're right. I don't know what that's like. But I do know what it's like to watch someone use their trauma as a weapon against everyone around them while claiming moral superiority." Harry stands up abruptly, his chair rolling backward. "I don't have to listen to this. I came here to have a conversation, not to be attacked by someone who makes jokes for a living." "Makes jokes for a living?" Colbert stands as well, his voice rising. "At least I'm honest about what I do. I don't pretend to be saving the world while I entertain people. I don't claim to be fighting for the voiceless while I negotiate $1,000,000 deals." The camera captures every moment of the escalating tension. Harry points a finger at Colbert, his voice shaking with anger. "You want to talk about honesty? Let's talk about how you've spent years making jokes about my family's pain, how you've turned our struggles into punchlines for your monologues." "Your struggles?" Colbert's voice drips with sarcasm. "You mean your struggle to choose between a life of unimaginable privilege in England or a life of unimaginable privilege in California? The struggle of deciding which private jet to take to your next climate change conference." Harry's face contorts with rage. "You're just like all the rest of them. You hide behind your jokes because you're too coward to have a real conversation about real issues." The audience shifts uncomfortably in their seats. This has gone far beyond the usual late-night banter. Colbert walks around his desk, closing the distance between himself and his increasingly agitated guest. "A coward?" Colbert's voice cuts through the studio like a blade. "You want to talk about courage? Harry, let's talk about the courage it takes to stay and fix things instead of running away when they get difficult. Let's talk about the courage it takes to serve your country without expecting a Netflix special in return. Harry takes a step closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Don't you dare question my service. I spent 10 years in the military. I served 2 tours in Afghanistan while you were here making jokes about politicians, and I respect it that Service Colbert replies, his tone equally intense, but what I don't respect is how you've weaponized it. Every time someone criticizes you, you hide behind your military record like it's a shield that makes you immune from accountability. Accountability? Harry laughs bitterly. You want to talk about accountability. Where's the accountability for the media that hounded my mother to death? Where's the accountability for the institution that threw my wife to the wolves? Where's the accountability for a system that protects predators and destroys the innocent? Colbert's eyes narrow. And where's your accountability for the damage you've done, for the relationships you've destroyed, for the chaos you've created in the name of your truth? My truth? Harry's voice cracks with emotion. It's not my truth, Stephen. It's the truth about racism, about corruption, about a system that's rotten to its core. Your truth, Colbert emphasizes each word, is that everyone else is the problem. Your truth is that you're the hero of every story, the victim of every situation. Your truth is that anyone who disagrees with you is either racist, corrupt, or part of some grand conspiracy. The audience watches in stunned silence as Harry's composure completely crumbles. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what they did to Meghan. You don't know how they treated her, how they ignored her when she was struggling. I know that she married into one of the most scrutinized families on earth and expected privacy. Colbert fires back. I know that she wanted the benefits of royalty without any of the burdens, just like you. Harry's face twists with fury. She was suicidal, Stephen, suicidal. And they did nothing. They cared more about protecting their precious reputation than protecting her life. And that's terrible. Colbert's voice softens slightly, but his resolve doesn't waver. Mental health struggles are real and serious, but using that pain to justify attacking everyone around you, using it as a weapon to silence criticism, that's not healing, Harry. That's manipulation. Manipulation. Harry's voice rises to a shout. You think I'm manipulating people by telling them what happened to us? You think I'm making it up? I think you're telling your version of what happened. Colbert responds calmly. I think you've convinced yourself that you're the sole keeper of truth in a world full of liars. But here's the thing about truth, Harry. It's not owned by anyone. It's not a commodity to be sold or a weapon to be wielded. Harry begins pacing his hands, gesturing wildly. You're just like all the rest of them. You can't handle the fact that someone is finally speaking out about what really goes on behind those palace walls. Or maybe Colbert suggests his comedian's timing impeccable, even in this heated moment. Just maybe the problem isn't that everyone else is wrong. Maybe the problem is that you've surrounded yourself with people who only tell you what you want to hear. That's rich coming from you. Harry spits. You surround yourself with an audience that laughs at everything you say, writers who craft jokes to make you look clever, and a network that pays you millions to spout your opinions. Where's your accountability? Stephen Colbert's expression hardens again. The difference is, I don't pretend to be saving the world. I don't claim moral authority over anyone. I tell jokes and interview guests. That's it. I don't position myself as some crusader for justice while living in a $40 million mansion. So that's what this is about. Harry's voice drips with contempt. You're jealous. That I had something you could never have, that I was born into something you could never achieve. The studio falls dead silent. Even the camera operators seem to hold their breath. Colbert's face goes completely still, his comedic mask slipping away entirely. Jealous. Colbert's voice is barely above a whisper, but it carries across the studio like thunder. Jealous of what, Harry? Jealous of someone who had everything handed to them and threw it away. Jealous of someone who had the love and respect of millions and traded it for Hollywood contracts. Harry's eyes blaze with indignation. I didn't throw anything away. I fought for my family. I fought for what was right. You fought for yourself. Colbert shoots back, his voice building in intensity. You fought for your right to have everything your way on your terms, with no compromise and no consideration for anyone else. That's not true, isn't it? Colbert challenges. When things got tough, instead of working within the system to change it, instead of using your position to make things better, you ran, you took your ball and went home. And now you're angry that the game continued without you. Harry's voice becomes strained, desperate. I tried to work within the system. I tried to make it work. But they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let us be happy. They wouldn't let you rewrite the rules. Colbert corrects. They wouldn't let you be royal. when it suited you in private. When it didn't, they wouldn't let you have your cake. And eat it too. Harry's face flushes, deeper red, his voice cracking under the pressure. You think this is some kind of game? You think I wanted any of this? You think I enjoyed watching my family fall apart on the front pages of every newspaper in the world? I think Colbert says, stepping even closer, that you've become addicted to being the victim. I think you've built your entire identity around your pain, and now you don't know who you are without. You're out of line, Harry snarls, pointing his finger directly at Colbert's face. You have no right to psycho-analyze me on national television. National television? Colbert's eyebrows shoot up. This from the man who aired his family's dirty laundry in front of Oprah Winfrey. This from the man who wrote a book detailing every private conversation he ever had with his father and brother. The audience shifts uncomfortably. Some people actually getting up to leave. The tension has become unbearable to witness. Harry's breathing becomes rapid and shallow. That was different. That was necessary. People needed to know the truth. No. Colbert's voice cuts through Harry's justification like a knife. You needed people to know your version of the truth. You needed validation for your choices. You needed the world to take your side in a family dispute. Harry's composure finally snaps completely. My mother is dead. Because of them, dead. And you want to make jokes about family disputes. The studio falls into an eerie silence. Even Colbert seems taken aback by the raw emotion in Harry's voice. But he doesn't back down. Your mother's death was a tragedy, Colbert says quietly, a genuine heartbreaking tragedy. But Harry, you can't use her memory as justification for every decision you make. You can't hold everyone else responsible for your grief. Don't. Harry's voice shakes with rage and pain. Don't you dare talk about my mother. You didn't know her. You never met her. You have no right. You're right. I didn't know her, Colbert acknowledges, but I know what she represented to people. I know the work she did, the grace she showed, even under impossible pressure. And I have to wonder what she would think about what you've become. The question hangs in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Harry's face goes through a series of emotions: rage, pain, confusion, and something that looks almost like recognition. What I've become. Harry's voice is barely audible. What have I become? Stephen, tell me, what exactly have I become? Colbert's expression softens slightly, but his words remain sharp. You've become everything you claim to hate. You've become someone who uses the media when it serves you and attacks it when it doesn't. You've become someone who preaches about compassion while showing none to your own family. You've become someone who talks about healing while keeping wounds open and bleeding. Harry stands, frozen, his mouth opening and closing as if searching for words that won't come. The camera captures every micro-expression, every moment of his internal struggle. Harry starts, then stops. I was trying to protect my family. I was trying to break the cycle. Were you? Colbert presses. Or were you trying to win? Were you trying to be right? Were you trying to prove that you were the good guy and everyone else was the villain? Harry's hands tremble slightly. I don't know anymore. I don't know what I was trying to do. And that, Colbert says, his voice finally showing a hint of compassion, might be the most honest thing you've said all night. The moment stretches between them, heavy with unspoken truths. Then Harry's expression hardens again, the vulnerability disappearing behind a wall of defiance. You know what, Stephen? You win. You got what you wanted. You broke me down on your show. You made me look weak and confused. Congratulations. I didn't want to break you down, Harry. Colbert replies, I wanted to break through to you. There's a difference. Harry shakes his head bitterly. No, there isn't. This is exactly what you wanted. This is exactly what gets ratings, what gets clicks, what gets people talking. You're no different from any other vulture feeding on other people's pain, and you're no different from any other celebrity using their platform to settle personal scores. Colbert fires back, his patience finally exhausted. The only difference is you dress it up in the language of social justice and mental health awareness. Harry's face contorts with fury. One final time. I'm done with this. I'm done with you. I'm done with this show. And I'm done pretending that any of you actually care about the truth. He turns toward the edge of the stage, but Colbert's voice stops him cold. The truth, Harry, is that you had the chance to be the change you wanted to see in the world. You had the platform, the influence, the resources, and the public's love. But instead of using it to build something better, you used it to tear everything down, including yourself. Harry whips around his face a mask of rage and pain. And the truth, Stephen, is that you're nothing but a court jester who thinks his jokes make him wise. You mock and tear down everyone around you while hiding behind the excuse that it's just comedy. The two men face each other across the stage, both breathing heavily, both having revealed more of themselves than they intended. The audience watches in complete silence, witnessing what might be the most uncomfortable television moment in decades. Security personnel begin moving toward the stage as the tension becomes palpable. Harry notices them approaching and lets out a bitter laugh. Perfect. The final humiliation, being escorted off stage like some kind of criminal. Nobody's escorting you anywhere, Colbert says firmly, but maybe it's time for you to decide who you really want to be, the victim or the hero, the problem or the solution, because right now you're stuck somewhere in between, and it's destroying you. Harry looks around the studio one last time, taking in the shocked faces of the audience, the camera still rolling, the security guards waiting in the wings. His shoulders sag slightly, some of the fight going out of him. Maybe you're right, he says quietly. Maybe I don't know who I am anymore. Without another word, Harry walks off the stage, leaving Stephen Colbert standing alone behind his desk, the studio eerily quiet, except for the hum of the cameras still capturing every moment. So there you have it, one of the most explosive late-night television moments ever captured on camera. What do you think really drove this confrontation? Was Colbert too harsh? Or did Harry need to hear these hard truths? Subscribe for more incredible stories like this one. And let me know in the comments, do you think Harry will ever find his way back from this public breakdown?